What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Nash, and in this video we have another practical Microsoft Excel interview question. So let's jump right into it. All right, so this is going to be our question here. As always, this is going to be available for download in the description below. Now our task here or question is going to be calculate the total sales for each salesperson in the North region for the product A for the month of January 2024. So this is going to be using a sum ifs formula, right? They're asking us to say, hey, look at the sales of all these people. Like we have 5 salespeople. Can you look at their sales? But I actually want you to look at who sold something in the North region. And within that North region, who sold product A? I just want to know the total sales for those, we're using those specific parameters. Now, for a question like that, you want to use a formula that's called a sum ifs. So let's go ahead and jump right into the actual data here. All right, so as you can see here, we have another tab, which is the sales data. And this is our data here. So let's go ahead and make this data a little bigger, okay? So you guys can actually see what this looks like. Okay, I think this is big enough. All right, so what I like to do with data like this, sometimes I like to format this data just so that I like seeing, I don't know what this is. I like seeing dollar signs here, right? Because these are sales amounts. I'm gonna go ahead and convert this data, change the format to dollar signs by clicking this accounting number format. Default is dollars. And if you don't have that over here, you can go over up here, click that drop down and select currency, something like that. It's gonna give you dollar signs. Now for the date here, sometimes you have dates in weird format. Now this is going to depend on where you live, right? So in the United States, obviously a date is not shown like this. Maybe in other countries, the date is shown like this. So depending where you live at, you can change the format of the date. So in this instance, since the United States does not show the date like this, I'm going to go ahead and change this. So how do I do this? So I'm going to go ahead and do equal to date value. I'm going to select this date over here. I'm going to close my parenthesis. Now it's going to convert the date to the United States date. Now, another way to do this is you can actually select the cell over here. You can go over to the drop down under number and go to more number formats. Here, you can go over to date, which is going to be selected already. And from here, you can actually select the different date formats that you're looking for. As you can see, there's a lot of options here, right? Now, I'm going to go ahead and copy this date format, Control C. I'm going to paste its values over here. Now this is going to obviously mess up my formula because I messed up the reference. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this over here. All I'm trying to do is convert this date here. All right. So looking at this data here, I'm going to go back to the question. It's always useful to go back to the question and try to make sense of it. So one of the things I need to set up is the last part of this question here. It says, they want all this data, right? Salesperson in the North region that's selling product A in the month of January, right? I like using cell references. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create some references for the month of January. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to create 1/1/2024, and I'll do the end of January here, 1/31/2024. Now, as you can see, this date format also has to be the same date format as what I have in this column here, column A, right? So now let's do our formula. Maybe let's do it over here. Let's do it here, actually. So we're gonna calculate these sales for these 3 people: of John Doe, Jane Smith, and Alice Brown. So let's go ahead and type in their name, John Doe. Let's do Jane Smith. And we also have Alice Brown. So now we have these people. Let's go ahead and make the format look a little nicer here. Let's make it a little bold. All right. So we're going to use a sum ifs formula, right? This is a pretty simple formula. This is a combination of an if formula. If you know how to program, you're familiar with if formula. Now we're going to combine that with a sum, right? If something matches this criteria, please sum it using this column here or something like that, equal to sum ifs. Okay, sum ifs. All right, so the first section is gonna be the sum range. So what am I trying to sum? What is my my end goal here? Where is the where are the values that I'm trying to sum located? Now they're located in column E. I want to sum these dollar amounts because I'm looking for the sales, right? These are the sales amounts. So I'm going to select all of these and I want to lock these cells here, right? You can lock them or you can unlock them. It's fine. If you're going to copy the formula down, you can lock these. But for this example, maybe I won't lock these cells. I'll just leave them as is. So I'm going to do a comma. All right. The second part is going to be the criteria range 1, right? Since I'm doing a sum if, it's going to allow me to have multiple criteria ranges. Now, my criteria range is going to be in column B, B2 through B7. It's going to be like, hey, I want to sum all these amounts here using this criteria. So it's like, hey, if someone is named one of these names here, please sum this over here. So I'm going to select all these names, right? Because I'm going to do a sum of all these salespeople. These are the salespeople. Do a comma here. Now, who's the first person I want to look into? I want to look into John Doe. So I'm going to do open quote, John Doe, right? So look for this person in column B. Right? Look for that person. All right, so now that we have our name, what is our next criteria? They also told us that we need someone who has sales in the north, right? So we're going to select column C or C2 through C7, right? Because this is where we have our regions. Like that, do a comma. Now we're looking for the north region. So I'm going to do north over here, close that, comma here. All right, so what's our next criteria? They also said you need to be selling product A. I'm going to select column D2 through D7, close that, and I'm going to tell them exactly what I'm looking for, which is product A, right? I'm looking for product A, comma. Now the next thing is going to be the date, because they said it needs to be in January, right? So the date is located in column A. So I'm going to do A2 through A7, right? And I'm going to do a comma. Now I'm going to go ahead and do a parenthesis here. And I'm going to do greater than or equal to, close that, and H1, which is here. So it needs to be greater than the beginning of the month, right? Because we're focusing on January. And I'm going to go ahead and do a comma here. I'm going to select A2 through A7 because it's what I'm looking into. This is where the date is located, like that. Comma. Now, the second part is going to be, I'm going to go ahead and do another comma, but it needs to be less than or equal to and H2, which is the end of this month here. So it needs to be less than the end of January. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and close this. There we go. All right, so looking at this here, you can see that John Doe had $900 in sales. Let's go ahead and convert this to dollar signs here. Okay, $900 in sales. He was selling product A in the North region in January for $900. Let's look at the data itself. So you can see that John Doe has a sale in the beginning of January, 1/1/2024, North region, product A for $500. He also has another entry here, which is John Doe sold a product in the North region, but it was product B, so that doesn't count. Now I also have another entry here where he sold a product in product A in the North region for $400, which gives us 900 here, right? So that's what we have here. So it's discounting this year because it's product B. It's nothing. If we changed this here to product A, see the formula changed to 110 because if we're gonna add all of his sales, they'll add up to $110. Okay. So let's go ahead and fix this real quick, 900. Now for Jane Smith, we do the same thing here. I'm just going to go ahead and copy the formula here. If I had locked these cell references, I would have just dragged the formula down, but I didn't do that. So here I can just copy the formula in here. Select here, paste the formula. All I'll do is change the name here to, let's do Jane Smith right here. Boom, 600. So here we can copy down the formula here for the name Alice Brown. Okay, what does she have? Put that on here. I'm gonna change our name here. 700. Now with these here, you can actually do cell references. So since I put the names here, I just wanted to do this the hard way, right? Because that's how most people do it. But if I was gonna copy this and let's say put the formula in here, just go here. And I put the formula next to this, which is going to be the same thing. What you could do here is instead of typing in the name here, because there's always room for human error, what you could do is actually reference, delete that, reference the cell where you type the name, right? You can reference this. It'll give you the same answer, but it eliminates room for human error, okay? Now, this was a small example. This wasn't a lot of data, but sometimes I can promise you that when you're looking at things like this, it's going to be a lot of data, right? You're not always going to be able to double check the data. Like, hey, let me get all of John Doe's sales of product A on the North region and let me add them together. If there's a lot of data, sometimes it might take a while to load if you're using filters. So that's why you sometimes you just want to use the sum ifs formula. It allows you to do all these things. This was obviously a small example where it's easy to tell to kind of like visually verify our data. But sometimes when you're working with a lot of data, you just need to trust that sum ifs formula. That's pretty much this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.